let's go ahead and move on over to the Big 12.
Thank God.
And yeah, all right. Well, got some bold predictions here as well. And we're starting out with a fresh one here. I mentioned Nebraska falling off. Here's another team that I think is going to fall off this year. Somebody's going to be mad about this, but I got to do it anyway. First Big 12 prediction. Number 5, Utah falls apart, misses a bowl game. I am not sold on Utah this season. I think they got the shaft when it came to the Kyle Whittingham situation. And I think losing a lot of their talented pieces, plus a lot of other things, has put them in a very, very tough spot. Plus, they've got a first-year head coach who has no business coaching. They kind of just threw him in out of random. This could be an ugly year for the Utes, is what I'm basically trying to say. I think Devon Dampier has shown potential, but again, it's another one of those things to where the talent around him could wound up being his undoing. It's one of those circumstances. They've got a veteran team, but they don't have a veteran coach to go along with it. Plus, they've got a schedule that doesn't benefit them in most capacities. They could be looking at a situation where they lose at home to Arkansas week 2. It's not entirely out of the realm of possibility. They'll be favored in that game. I think they'll win it, but they could be looking at a possibility there. And if they do wound up blowing that game, then 100% I'm going to be right about this. Plus, then after that, they've got some really, really tough games down the stretch. Iowa State, they got Kansas after a bye week. Then you got Cincinnati on the road, BYU, Arizona on the road, TCU on the road. I have no idea how much, how developed West Virginia is going to be, but that could be a tough one at the end of the season as well. To me, this looks like a very, very upcoming ugly year for Utah. That's where I stand on that development. Thank you.
There's not been enough goddamn development at Utah. I agree. Utah at best is going 6-6. They got nuked when Whittingham fucked off to that team up north. They got absolutely nuked. And that team has been honestly circling the drain for quite some time, especially after the issues they had at quarterback for like 2 or 3 years straight. So many question marks. I don't disagree with this prediction. It's not too crazy to think. I'm honestly thinking the Arkansas prediction was more crazy than what the hell you already said before that. Like, wait a minute, you're saying that Arkansas on the road in Utah at night is going to beat Utah in week 2 with a brand new head coach. You sure about that? It's a bit bold to say. You're investing a lot in
pig time. I called a bold prediction.
Yeah, you're investing a lot in pig time there. There's bold predictions, and then there's giving somebody a little too much credit, and I think that's what we're doing with Arkansas there. But
I think Silverfield will. I think he has upsides to him. I just don't think he'll show it immediately. I'm not, for the record. I'm not even picking Arkansas to win that game, but it'll be closer than I think people expect. That's all I can really say about that. All right, moving on here. Let's go to number 4. And again, it's one of those things where I labeled this as a bold prediction, but a lot of you in here are probably going to wind up agreeing with me on this, and that includes Red. Number 4, this will be Deion Sanders' final year at Colorado. And no, this is not a Kirk Ferentz situation. I don't think he's going to retire. I think he's going to get canned. I think he is going to get fired from Colorado. And there's a variety of reasons that I can go ahead and say to go ahead and explain that to you. But the obvious one here being that if you look at the way Colorado is run, it's a complete and total clown show. Up until now, they've had a bunch of media stars running the whole daggum show. Deion finally hired somebody who knows what they're doing, hired a couple of guys who know what they're doing. But this is a sinking ship. He's building this team entirely from the transfer portal. And last year, it failed miserably. The first year he was there, he failed miserably. The only time that it actually succeeded, the only time was because of the fact that Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter wound up being really, really good players, really talented players. But here's the problem. They're not there anymore. Their numbers have been retired. So that isn't working out in their favor. Another thing is Colorado is going to likely be starting a freshman quarterback in Julian Lewis. And he's got upsides to him. But again, this is another example of nothing around him. No coaching, no development. and no weapons. So I think there's some significant problems with Colorado, and their schedule does them no favors either. They play two, not one, but two opponents in the Power Four for their non-con. They got to go to Georgia Tech in Atlanta to start the year, which, mind you, Georgia Tech beat them in Colorado last year. Now they got to travel to Atlanta. They also got to play Northwestern on the road as well. So yeah, there is some tough stretches along the way. They've got to play Texas Tech and Baylor to open up their conference opponents. Plus, they've also got Utah, Kansas State, Arizona State on the road, Cincinnati on the road, Houston at home. Like, this is a brutal, brutal stretch. And mixed in with the fact that I don't think Colorado is a serious program, it's not going to take long in my eyes for them to fall off. I saw your dog attacking you there. Yeah, he seemed to agree.
Decided that he wanted to get his 5 minutes of fame after he got a haircut last week. So yeah, whatever, good boy, I guess. Chief is a fucking moron. Sometimes I swear.
There you go.
I'm not a moron.
Damn, you got called out.
What do we always say about Chief? Smooth brain, no edges, right?
Yeah, why don't you quit talking shit about your dog and talk some shit about Colorado?
Okay, fine. I'll talk some shit about Colorado. I'm sorry. I say that with the most fucking love possible, by the way. Look, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The only reason why Deion would go and up the river this season is if they went 3-9 again or worse. Or if Deion's health deteriorated further. They would have to do worse than last year, or Deion's health would have to absolutely not get better. And honestly, I feel like Deion's health is going to be the biggest factor here. If his health continues to decline like it did last year for a while, that's going to be obviously that's a shame. And, we obviously don't want, bad for Deion. But at a certain point, if his health is not there and he needs to take care of himself, then he's not going to be fucking there. But if we're talking strictly from a performance standpoint, yeah, they're going to have to do worse than last year to do that. And I don't think that's going to happen per se. I don't think there's a huge chance of that happening.
He might leave on his own accord, honestly. I saw this video, and of course, this is something we all predicted the moment he got hired and the moment Shedeur Sanders went to the Cleveland Browns. We saw a video of Deion on the practice field with Shedeur at the Browns practice facility, helping him throw the ball. That's if he's going anywhere after he's done at Colorado, I can assure you that's his next destination right there. Is going to the Cleveland Browns.
NFL as an assistant coach. Maybe.
Yeah, probably.
Well, all right. I don't know if an NFL squad would put up with that. Even Cleveland. I mean, the nepotism would be real, but whatever.
We got to stop talking about Colorado now, because if we keep going, we're going to get one of my favorite things about Colorado fans, and when it comes to the Deion stands, they'll tell you the same thing every time. You're only talking about Colorado because it's going to give you engagement, Squidtard. It's a real comment that I've gotten that apparently I only talk about Colorado because it gives me engagement. Now, Red, correct me if I'm wrong, but what do you often look for when you're doing making content on the internet? What's that? What's that word? It starts with the E. I just said it a minute ago. Yeah, you don't even need to answer that. You guys know it. So let's go ahead and move on to number 3, shall we? Shout out to our sponsor of the FBS Report, Prize Picks. Now, as they do for every single FBS Report, now we've got a lineup to make. So let's go ahead and get right on that before we continue on with the show. And the fun thing about Prize Picks is that you can wager on just about anything. You can wager on Counter-Strike if you want, League of Legends, WNBA, MLB, tennis, soccer. I'm going to put something on the MLB. Originally, I was going to do something with Banana Ball, but that's no longer an option. I know.
I was going to say Banana Ball. What?
Yeah, no, it's real. I think it was Banana Ball. Yeah. I was going to do something with that, but that wasn't available by the time the show started. Believe me, I'm just as disappointed as everybody else.
Boo, not cool.
I know. Very, very unfortunate. Blame the Showtime for that. But I guess What do you think? I guess you should just do what we usually do and put more on a few lineups here.
Yeah, I
We
would
can't do
say
it on the
let's
same
put.
team. I know
Yeah,
that.
no, let's put more on Merrill, more on Christian Walker. I'm actually gonna say let's be bold and go less on El Jose Altuve if we can.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
let's fuck around. Why not?
All right, that's what we'll do then. Lineup's good. All right, let's run it. So we'll give you guys an update on that. I actually won. The last lineup that we did, I actually won that. The last one we did on the show. Yeah, I actually won.
Yeah,
so
every
sometimes
blind
you do
squirrel
win.
finds a nut.
It is true. Every blind squirrel does indeed find a nut. So if you want to jump in on that too and find your nut, the perfect place for that is Prize Picks. So hit up that promo code HMA, sign up today. And the best part about it is you can play a first $5 lineup and have a chance to get $150 if you win. So check out Prize Picks using the promo code HMA, sign up today. Thank you to them for sponsoring. And of course, make sure to play responsibly. All right. Number 3 here in my Big 12 bold predictions. And this is a funny one for a variety of reasons, but I had to talk about this squad and this player in particular. Number 3, DJ Lagway saves Dave Aranda's job. Dave Aranda is a head coach right now. He's Schrodinger's coach. He is constantly being extended and fired at the same time. He's right back on the hot seat after last year's season with Baylor. He actually wound up having a sort of – it was another one of those up and down type of seasons where he looks good, then he doesn't, looks good, then he doesn't, looks good, then he doesn't. Well, it's another one of those years this season. And now that he lost Sawyer Robinson, he brought in transfer quarterback from Florida, DJ Wrongway. Well, Lagway has shown potential. Even under the tutelage of Billy Napier, he has shown potential if he's got actual weapons along with him. And I think he does have a bit of that. And I think the highest tier weapon that he's got isn't even a wide receiver, but rather a running back in Dawson Pendergrass. I think he is a very, very good running back, and he's going to help out that Baylor offense quite a significant bit. If there's anything to be concerned about with the Bears, it's the defensive side of the football. And unless they're playing a team like Texas Tech or Houston, you know, most of those teams in there are offensive juggernauts. They're offense heavy. That's what they're doing, and that's what they're all about. So I think Baylor is in good company when it comes to just focusing entirely on offense. And again, it's another one of those situations where their schedule has shown favors. Now, they start out the year with Auburn. Again, Auburn beat them last year, and you know that threw a lot of predictions off about Baylor. But now we enter this year, and they play in a neutral site in Atlanta. Baylor could very well win that game, get the revenge, get the jump on Golish as a new head coach, and get Aranda back on the right track. Because if they beat Auburn, he's already 1 foot back into the facilities at Baylor. All he needs to do past that point is win a couple more games, and he's set for the next season. So that, in my eyes, I think DJ Lagway is going to probably end up popping off against that Auburn defense and several more defenses down the stretch. I think he's going to wind up saving Aranda's job for the foreseeable future, at least the next year.
I'm just going to say this right now. They just got to win 6 games to keep Aranda. Like, the bar is so hilariously low right now. They just got to get to a bowl game. And I think he'll keep his job, because the last couple of years, it's been, like you said, it's been real back and forth. 5-7 last year. They went to a bowl in 24 and then fucking tanked in 23. So I feel like that he should already have been fired, frankly, because he's not giving what he was promised. I mean, this guy came in from LSU after 2019, organizing one of the best defenses in college football at that time, and he's absolutely shat himself at every opportunity since then. It's been more than enough time. He's had a couple of rosters that he's been able to build completely on his own. Now he's got a new defensive coordinator, and again, DJ Lagway coming in, which again, we'll give DJ shit because he's not the greatest quarterback in the world, but damn it, he's serviceable, at least in the right system. Is Baylor going to be the right system to finally make Lagway succeed and potentially do something? You only have to do a lot, just something? I don't fucking know. It's such a fucking coin. I'm not even going to try to pretend to be like, oh yeah, they're going to fucking sucker. Oh yeah, they're going to do great. I don't have a fucking clue with Baylor. They are about as big of a fucking wild card as the goddamn Joker. So wait and see. It's 50-50 on if Ferranda actually gets fired. He's lucky to still be there at all, though.
No, I can absolutely agree with that, which is why I think Lagway going to come in and save it for him. All right, number 2. This is another player one, and it's got something to do with a team that is heavily underlooked this season, and a lot of that is due for the same reasons that Utah is. However, because this team has significant talent on offense, I think this will actually go the opposite direction for them. Bold prediction number 2, Avery Johnson at Kansas State will lead the conference in total yards. Now, in case you all don't know anything about Avery Johnson, dual threat quarterback out of Kansas State. Colin Klein is getting the start there. He was originally a coordinator at A&M. Now he's coming in to get his first start as a head coach over at Kansas State, where they just had Chris Kleeman retire. So Avery Johnson is heavily underlooked because Kansas State last year was not exactly a dumpster fire, but they weren't far from it. They lost to Army, and then ever since, everything just sort of went down the shitter.
And they also lost in Ireland, which gave them the Irish curse, and they got cornered by the beef. So there you go.
There you go. That'll lead you down the wrong path. But Avery Johnson, in a surprising turn of events, rather than going to the NFL, has chosen to return for his senior year. Now, that is a bit of a surprise. It is pretty bold by him. But what I think is going to be bold is that I think he is going to wound up leading the conference in total yards. And a lot of this does, in fairness, depend on how well Joe Jackson develops. And in case you don't know who that is, starting running back for Kansas State. And again, it's part of it is also dependent on the style of offense that Kansas State runs. We don't know if they're going to let Avery Johnson run around with the football like I think they will. They may not do that. They may just try and do what they're, the usual formation of just letting the running back try and do all the work for him. But Johnson's got weapons, including his own legs. He's got a bunch of brand new talent through the wide receiver core that's going to help him out quite a significant bit. They've got a defense that's helpful in some degree. And the best part, they've got a favorable schedule which dodges the best defenses in the conference. They don't play Texas Tech, nor do they play BYU. Probably their toughest defense that they've got to go up against would probably end up being Houston. It's either Houston or TCU. And those are decent defenses. So to me, I think it's very well within possibility that the Wildcats could have a really good year with Avery Johnson at the helm.
I think that they can have a little bit of a bounce back year this season and not be so shit like they were last year. Number one, they're not playing in Ireland again. That's a win, right? But also because last year they were pegged to be one of the top in the conference, and they just completely fell apart. So I disagree only because Bear Bachmeyer plays for BYU. And I think that kid's going to have a really, really good season this year. Like, last season, he kind of came out of nowhere and was making some very, very excellent plays, putting himself on the line, doing his best Fernando Mendoza impression. Now he's got the offseason to get better, and BYU is my favorite to win the Big 12 right now, genuinely. Like, they're going to be great this year, so it's going to be tough for me to agree with you, only not because Avery Johnson isn't good, but because of the quality of quarterback at BYU. So, we'll see.
Somebody mentioned what Colin Klein did against Miami at A&M. Yes, but again, I told you guys just a second ago, he dodges the best defenses from the conference. He's not going to play a defense this year that's near as good as what Miami had from last season. I think we can all agree with that.
Also, don't you remember there was like a hurricane-level winds in that playoff game? So it kind of doesn't fucking matter how good or bad they did on offense. Yeah. Unless you could run the ball. That was really all you could do. Yeah. I mean, the ball was being sent 90 degrees the wrong way.
I mean, we're talking about a guy. Yeah, we're talking about a guy that worked with Marcel Reed, which is in a lot of similar ways a quarterback just like Avery Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also kind of like Klein's homecoming. I mean, he played for Kansas State as a quarterback. He's got the athletic department fully behind him, not just because he's an alumni, but because of his work at Texas A&M. I think that Kansas State's going to have a good year. Not great. They're not winning the conference, but they'll be good.
Well, we'll find out in due time. All right, here's my top bold prediction here for the Big 12. And it's not a team prediction, but it's a conference prediction.
Brendan Soares regains eligibility.
now, see, that could shift this final prediction, but you never know. Here we go.
Ooh.
Number one, the Big 12 will have 2 reps in the college football playoffs. So 2 reps in the college football playoffs. I think you guys know that I'm going to list one of them off the bat as BYU.
Oh yeah,
very, very high on BYU this year, as Red just previously mentioned. Bear Bachmeier returning for another season, and the Bear was really good last year as a freshman. He's got a lot of potential this year as well. Plus, he's got quite a bit of talent returning, both on the wide receiver core, of course, on the running back system. LJ Martin coming back is huge. BYU, in my eyes, is the favorite to win the Big 12. Now, the second part of this is very dependent on who you guys think that second team is going to be. Now, a lot of people rationally are saying Texas Tech. Despite the fact that they did lose Brendan Sorsby, of course, with everything that happened in the previous few weeks, Texas Tech still got a pretty dadgum good defense. They've got some weapons around them that could help out, and they have a laughably easy schedule. So they can probably run through most of their schedule, make it to the Big 12 championship, maybe get the jump on BYU, or vice versa, and then both of those teams could wind up making the college football playoffs. The other scenario, of course, would be if there is a team that nobody expects from the Big 12, which this kind of does become a thing every so often. We saw it with Arizona State 2 years ago, saw it with TCU 4 years ago. You could have a team from basically out of batshit nowhere that comes up and just blows everybody's expectations out the window. Somebody like Cincinnati, or Oklahoma State, or Arizona State again. You never really know with the Big 12. But we could be looking at a scenario where you have BYU or Texas Tech, or both, or another team from that conference, both wound up making the college football playoffs.
I don't disagree with this at all. I think this is a fair, bold take, but I will say I think I got my pick for who BYU's dance partner would be if it's not Texas Tech, because I'm going to be real, I don't think Texas Tech, with the chaos they had this offseason and the fucking bullshit they were dealing with, I don't know if they even make it to the Big 12 championship this year. I don't think that's going to be in the cards. You know who I do think BYU's dance partner is going to be? One of the worst goddamn 10-win teams last season, but yet you fucking heard of them, the Houston Cougs. I think with Connor Waitman coming back, they could be sneaky as all hell this year. If they get a couple of things going in the right direction, Houston, I think, could be in the playoff if they are to, go 10-2 or 11-1.
Yeah,
that would be, I think, very doable.
I deliberately didn't mention them because I think they're third in the Big 12 odds. So they aren't necessarily this like super duper sneaky team that could wind up doing well better of expectations.
No.
Houston, like this preseason, there's a lot of eyes on them. So that's why I didn't mention them.
No, but I also think that no one really takes them seriously. I mean, I don't take them seriously.
There's a reason for that, but
but I don't take them seriously. And I mean, Arizona also has a case to make. I mean, they're also really, really good. The only thing that I would dig them on is the fact that they had a lot of defense get drafted into the NFL this offseason, so it's going to be harder for them to stop the offense. So they're a distant, fourth for me in terms of like contenders. But yeah, I think Houston would be a realistic dance partner with BYU if we're going to have 2 contenders for the playoff for the Big 12. I don't think it's wrong.
Mm-hmm. Rationally so. All right, that is all of our Big 12 bowl predictions.